Hi everyone, it's Diana here at the Oar Board Rower, and we're here in beautiful Hawaii. And I'm just going to set up a 13.4 oar board for a how to row video. So this is just the starting and the assembly. Your hand pump will be in the pocket on the front of your SUP bag. So there's a separate pocket here, and there will be your hand pump. You've got your leash, your extra covers, few things in there for traveling, and our straps, which we will keep out. So the Oar Board pump has a gauge built into the top, and it has an inflate and deflate option here. So we're inflating. So we're attaching the hose on the back here. Make sure that's on really snug. And then I'm going to hook the other end into the paddleboard. You can see there's a little spring-loaded valve in the middle there. Down lets all the air out, up seals it in, but you can also fill it that way. So if you're letting the air out, you'd push it down and twist it, and that would lock it in place and make the air be able to escape. You don't want that when you're filling it up. You want it pop back up, as you can see there. Two little bars inside that valve there. You've got little hooks on each side, so you want to line them up so you can push down and wrap around those two bars in there so the hose can't come off. Then when I'm pumping it up, I have a single and double valve, so this causes it to inflate on the way up and down or just on the way down. So I start and let it go both ways till it gets about 10 psi, and then I switch it to single. It's going to be really easy at the start and not even show anything on the gauge for quite a while. Until the board is actually full in shape, you're not really adding any pressure, so you're not going to see anything on your PSI gauge until the board is fully shaped. Then you're starting to add pressure, and that's when the work starts. Luckily for me, as we're doing a photo shoot out here and some work to do, I have an electric pump, so I'm going to show you that as well. So I can take that off, no air is going to leak out because I've sealed that. With the electric pump, it has a PSI setting on already. So first you're just going to make sure you line up those two bars across, tighten it on really good. It's not going anywhere. Hold that down for a few seconds for the power to turn on. And then we're going to change our PSI to 15 and start. Starts to add up a bit. You get a little more noise, but don't worry, it will go right to 15 PSI. Okay, we're at 15 PSI, so we're just going to make sure you hold the bottom of that. So you take all the pieces out in one because they do separate. So you don't want to just untwist here and then lose all your air. So see those tabs at the bottom? Hold that, twist it off. There's a little click. Then make sure you've got the same pieces to go in between those two bars. Line them up and click it on there, sealed up. There we go. So this is our newest flex fin. It also comes included with the board. It's great for ability to be able to drag it off and on from the beach, bump into anything. It just is tough. You can hold the weight of the oar board on it while you have it on the beach. I love it. It's my favorite fin, along with the 13.4 Adventure, my favorite board. So I'm going to just flip it over to put the fin in. Okay, so I've taken the little square nut out. I reattached it into the fin screw just so I can put it in place. That lets you assemble it where you need it. It's opposite as the hard fin that comes with it. You put it at the opposite end. The piece that catches in here and the part you screw through are opposite on this fin. So I'm just going to line those through here, slide that down, and now you want to line that up perfectly with that nut, which is much easier to do when the board's upside down like this. So there we go, I've lined it up perfect. Put that through and screw it in place. So now I'm going to put the board hanging over the edge here. We luckily have this spot where I can have the fin just hanging over the edge a bit here and set her up. And I've got my oar board. I'll just roll right up beside the board to start building it on top. First on top, you're going to find your two-part oars. Awesome bag with 4 compartments. Velcroed at the top that holds each piece of the oars for you there. Put those to the side for now. Then we'll take our pieces of our oar board out. We've got struts. They all have the knobs and screws already in place of where you're going to need them once you undo them to build it. Your seat and your foot plate are both there already. Now this has extra straps in it we've brought along the trip because we've come a long way for this video. Now your base will be locked in place as well. You'll undo that. And then you can lift that right out with your sliding rigger piece right on top. You don't have to even attach that. It's done for you. So your seat end is going to go towards your bow. And I'm going to put this on the second spot. So I'm just going to line it up right there like that. We can always adjust that as we get to the straps. So let's start with the seat and the foot plate, and then we'll do the struts next. Seat is very easy to assemble. One knob underneath. Everything else is done for you. It's lined up. Snug it over top backwards. If you did it wrong, you wouldn't be able to line that screw in there. Snug it on top there and do that knob up underneath. Okay, now the foot plate. So your foot plate has 2 lines with a pin on each side. So take those pins out. And then you're going to pick your spot. It's done on your leg length, so there's no exact telling you which is going to be best for you. The smaller you are, the closer it is towards you. I like the middle spot. 6 feet and over, go to the third away spot. Around there. Again, it's done on leg length, so it's not exact height of your body. So for me, the middle is perfect. I'm almost 5'8", so right around there. Okay. And you might get on it and find you want it a little further away, and that's part of rowing it to figure that out. Both pins are in place, that easy and snug. Now here's your foot stop. These are both tightening around your feet when you get in. I'll show you that in a little bit. But it does also come with an extra ankle release as you're learning to row. It's totally up to you if you use that or not. This will pull open, once your feet are in here, and this is a little wider and everything, it'll pull open both feet if anything was ever to happen. That's an option for you there. You have that in your foot stop going up to your calf and around your calf. I've been rowing for years, so I have quite a lot of faith that I will not be flipping on the oar board. So I do not use this, but it's there for everyone to use if they'd like to when they start off, or just because they want to have it the whole time. Either way, I'm going to put it in the bag. Okay, then we have our 2 struts. So they come pretty well assembled. Your oar locks, everything's on there. The only thing you'll need to do with that later is loosen those up to put your oars in. So we can leave them loosened and open. All the knobs, I keep them on there so I know where they are the next time you build it. Makes it much simpler and faster and less chance of losing anything. Your kit does come with a couple spare knobs though as well. Take those off and just put them inside the board there. This screw is loose, so there's a couple ways to keep that in place. With it being that loose, I can just use my thumb while we're starting off, and I'll do the same on the other one. Okay, so now when you're putting your 2 struts together, you're going to line them up and your ends are going to go off the end pieces here, just behind the foot plate. I'm going to kind of kneel on the board to give you a close look and push this rigger away so you can see exactly what I'm up to here. Okay, I have all the screws taken off. We have this black connector piece in here. Let's put those 2 together and line them up nice and straight. All the screws have to be perfectly straight to fit through here. So what I like to do is rest it here, put both ends over the end behind the foot plate, kind of gives you a good angle. And then you can line these 4 right in line. You just have to lift them up a little bit, keep them in line, and push them through. It's a little snug. It's the first time going through. And if you just get enough that you can see it on the other side, it's all you need really to catch the knobs and tighten it up as you go. So you can just kind of go get all 4 on there, tighten them all up, and tighten them all again once you get them all on. So now I'm going to go across and just tighten them all up really good. So we've got the 4 cross pieces all screwed in here on your strut, and now your end that's just past your foot stop, you're going to just line that up there and push that through. We've done that on both sides, and what I like to do is just go off the end here, and then you've got clearance to get that knob screwed in place there. You can do a lot of that by hand at the start. Once you get to the end, you really want to tighten that up. You don't want to have any give in that at all. So you've got just a little flathead screwdriver here, and I usually just hold that in place there and turn with the knob till it's tight. And that's it. You do that on both sides. The Oar Board comes with 2 sets of straps. With our paddleboard included, you're going to get a short set of straps. Each are wrapped in a green band. I take them off and keep them handy because I'll show you that in a minute where you're going to need those down the road. Open both those up. Just let them loose. And now I'm going one back. There's 3 positions on the 13-4 Adventure. If I have a little bit more weight or I just want to get a little bit rougher water, one step back's a nice spot. It really depends on what you're doing. I usually put gear on the back, so I'm used to going one step back just to balance the board out. So those 2 options are pretty close. The third option is all the way down to the end, and that would be if you want to stand up paddleboard and keep your rower on deck, which is a cool option to have. Okay, now with the straps. If you come in close here and take a look, this has a little click that's going to go on back of itself. Kind of see that, maybe even hear it. We want to click it on the back of itself. So you're starting with that flipped on the back of itself inside the paddleboard. Like that. You've got that little black foam there. You're going to set it right on there. Keep your strap flat. Don't let it twist. Come through. You're going to go over your D-ring here and back inside. So I'm going to do that slowly for you to see. Pull all that out. Straighten everything out here. Then I'm going to feed it back in underneath the material and all the way across the board again over to this D-ring. Now here's your chance as you're doing this to make sure everything's kind of lined up. You're going to be right in between the black lines. There might be a tiny bit of yellow showing on either side. Feed this across. Again, keeping everything straight. Don't let it twist. There we go. Now when I'm feeding this back in here, I kind of want this buckle to be all the way over to the oar board here, like that. Because once we flip it back over, it's going to flip over here and lock up right in the center of the board over this pad so it won't slip around at all. So I'm going to feed that through underneath, closest to the big buckle part. Second spot in, back through the other one, and that's it. You'll see it wrapped over that middle bar there. And I'm going to kind of, again, move it back a bit, get some tension on it, keep moving it back so it's exactly where I want it to be. Flip it over with force, just enough that's strength for your own hand, clips back down in place. Then you've got that extra strap. I'm going to feed that through to the outside here. And then I was telling you about that extra oar board band. Right here, I'm just going to roll this up. It's not too much at this part, but it's kind of nice not to have it hitting the water. You've got your oar board band, wrap around there, and keep it out of the ocean. Same again at the other end of the oar board. We're going to click it back on itself, have it flat up against the material there. We'll do it the same way as the last one. Feeding it through. It's narrow at this part, so you're going to have a little bit more strap to deal with. So just, you're going to come up over your D-ring, underneath. Going to move that there, under the board, under your buckle, across the paddleboard, across to this D-ring, under and back over. All the way over, keeping everything straight, through the board. And again, I back that right up again. Now, feeding that through again, closest to the big buckle part. Second spot, all the way through, pull it tight, curve it right back in, next spot. Again, I want to center that nice and tight, just hand tighten, pull it over and clip back into place. So feed that through and we'll grab the other oar board band. And there we go. Okay, then your 2-part oars come in this bag. Mine are already kind of ready to go. I have used them before, but I'm just showing you again how they come in the bag and how to put them together. So there's 4 pockets inside. 2 larger pockets are for your blade halves. Set those there. So they're separated with 2 larger pockets, so nothing's getting banged around as you set them up. And then your 2 handle halves are in the small little pockets in the back. And I've got the collars already on and set. Take a look here, just over the 3. It's a nice number to have it at. You're still getting a little crossover, making it really easy, especially if you're learning to row. The higher the number, the more crossover you're going to have, and I'll show you that in my how to row videos. Now with your oars, you're just going to make sure they're color coded. So you have red, is the port side for the oars, and make sure your other half has got the red matching port side. A little windy as I put these together. Blade's catching a bit. Slide them in, push the pins on either side, and just twist them till they click on either side. There we go. And same with the green side, is starboard side of the board. And here we go. Putting that on the end. Same thing, slide them on, hold both pins in, push them in like that, and twist it till they click. And there we go. Now with setting up, a real quick thing to go over with everybody to always remember, you always want your oar lock over the struts. So you're never going to put the oars in on the outside, always over the strut like that. Lift it up, and that's where your oar is going to go in. If you look out, once we have them both on, you'll see they're both kind of curved a little bit, both blades, and that's as you're scooping the water as you row. So again, on the other side, we're just going to twist that to open the gate, the oar lock. Twist that up. Make sure, again, it can go in either position. Always keep it over the board, over your struts, facing the boat. Lift that up and lock in that other oar, twisting that in place. Still it's tight. Now if you look at the boat, back up there and look at how the oars are. They're both in a scoop position, which is exactly how you want to row. So I've got my Adventure 13.4 all set up and ready to go for a row. So I've just kind of dragged it down here to the launch ramp. I've got a bow line I've just tied up here. That's a handy way to have the handle there to keep control of it, especially in a bit of wind like this. I keep my handles under the tie-down straps here. That's kind of your gear straps. A nice way to make sure your handles aren't bouncing off and your blade scraping in the rocks or anything also. Also can put my shoes just underneath these here and keep them there for wherever I land on shore so I can walk wherever I like. So I'm just going to tuck that extra line under here so I can always know where it is. And this is where that flex pin comes in handy. You can just okay, so I'm going to hop on and head out to the breakwater. I'm going to wait till I get away from here a little bit till I get my feet in, just so I have a second to get myself situated here. Once I get away from the edge there, I'll get my feet in, stop rowing for a second, but kind of nice to get going a bit first.